day, everybody. Welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. How you all doing? I hope you're doing good. So yeah, my inner conflict about doing vlogs, I guess, is manifested itself the other way. Now I feel like I have lots of stuff to do vlogs about. It's crazy, crazy like that when you live a self-involved private life and really nothing else. I don't know what I mean by that, but anyhow, back in the 80s, I've told everybody before, I published a fanzine called Warehouse of Strangers. This is the only remaining copy that I have of it, and this is issue number 8 out of 10 issues that I published throughout from 84 to 89. And then I started doing a little fanzine called The Cockroach. It was, notice it doesn't have any staples. It's like a little broadsheet. I did that because I was mailing this into prisons. Because there's like a lot of people in prison had poems in here. This is also the only copy of The Cockroach I still have. Volume 1, issue 3. I wish I had all that stuff, but you can wish all you want. But anyhow, so when I moved to Peterborough, I really wanted to get into the writing poetry scene, along with a bunch of other stuff. And I did that quite successfully. It was really just sitting here waiting when I got to town, Everything was at the Union. Everything I wanted to do and try was at the Union Theater. So, doing theater, doing music, doing poetry, all under one great little smoky umbrella. But, okay, so the first book of poems I published of myself. Now, a lot of people eschew or poo-poo on publishing your own work, but I say fuck it. I'm a big advocate of do-it-yourself projects. I find the independent press to be by far the most exciting and relevant literature going in the world. Fuck Chapters, Indigo or whatever, all that shit. I want to see the fanzines and the chapbooks, So anyhow, I started my career as a writer, publishing some of my poems. I made this book in Oakville, but I brought it to Peterborough. The Dead Plant Poems. And I had a little, when I moved here, I wrote this in 1992, and when I moved here, I got this little rubber stamp made. Cockroach Publications had my address on it. That's not my address anymore, so it doesn't matter. Same street, though, interesting enough. So I published this. I only made like 10 copies of it, whatever. I got like 2 of these, I think. But I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to do a nicer book. Now, I live in a very fortunate position for you would think anyway, for an independent publisher. My mother owns a printing shop in Burlington, Ontario, and can do stuff like that, right? The only thing is she's not a huge fan of the things I do. So in that world, so it's kind of catch as catch can with my mom. But she did make this lovely book for me. She's made my CD covers and stuff like that, and yeah, she's my mom. I love her. I love my mom. But anyhow, I made this book, Empty Pocket Marching Song. That's my original artwork cover. Yeah, and then in this I had like a nice sky blue inner, like inside sheet. You know, I tried to make it look more like a book, right? Now the only thing is I this is back when we were still using stuff like word processors and shit. So all the writings in capital font and whatever, it is what it is. This is the only copy of this I have left. I had 200 copies of this. So there's 200 of them out there in the world somewhere. The next book I published, I just did it on a quickie on a Xerox machine. It's called Body of Insurrection. And I'm quite proud of this one. It's also the only copy I have of it. Now this is the Cockroach Publications logo. My friend Steve Jones drew that for me. This little cockroach, angry cockroach, flying the black flag of anarchy. So 1993 was a prolific year for me with book publishing, mainly because I had some cash saved up. I could do shit like that. The next book I would publish is this one called Justice in 5-Part Harmony. This is also the only copy of this I have. It's not my favorite of my books, but I think it looks nice. It's got a little tea or whatever seafoam green liner sheet. I did this up at the Arthur newspaper, so I had some cool clip art to use. I believe this is supposed to be Emma Goldman chucking a brick. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, so there's that. I also did some collaborations with my friend Phil Cummel and Craig Anderson. This is a book we published. Well, this book was Phil's idea, and it's called Poets 3, the original beautiful title of Poets 3, whatever the fuck. But it has this kind of extended piece of paper as the liner note. I thought that was kind of cool. Phil's design. Anyway, we just split it up. I have a third of the book. Craig has a third of the book. Phil has a third of the book. Anderson, Cummel, and Walsh. Kind of cool. Phil Cummel and I also co-authored a book together called 200 Feet of Dump Truck Full. I wrote the first half. He wrote the second half. It's kind of interesting. These are all the only copies of this I have left. The poetry scene was pretty big in town at the time, and so we actually had enough people doing these poetry readings. We published an anthology called Poetry Posse. My friend Phil, his friend, drew this picture, drawing by Wendy Hamacott. Yeah, so cool picture. Nice seafoam green liner page. I don't know, fuck. But whatever. This is an anthology of the writers at the time. This is a great book. I look at it often. Only copy I have. Okay, so then 1996 came, and the Union Theater closed due to a rent increase we couldn't afford. So Ian McLaughlin of the Cultural Studies Department up at Trent, he runs a press called Ordinary Press, and they've published tons and tons of books. So he took the 5 most prolific original playwrights at the Union Theater, and we all got a chapbook made. So this is a chapbook of mine called, it's these 3 plays, De Fernan, Playpen, and Reipsa-Luctor, or whatever, however you pronounce that. Means something in Latin, I'm not sure what. That's a drawing I drew. And this was published in 96, and as you can tell by the ISBN number, this is in the National Library of Canada. So that's kind of cool. Now, I started my own, when I switched over to Moto Press, I got a block of ISBN numbers. I became a legitimate company. And so the first thing I published was a book of my poems, and this is 1998, so this is far beyond my early salad days of my first chapbooks. This one I'm considering doing a second printing of, and adding this book, which is also a Moto Press book. These books are also both in the National Library of Canada. 5 plays and behind Parados. So yeah, I'm very proud of both of these books. I might do a second printing of them at some point. I also published this little book, this little wee book, tiny book called Crappy Normal, and I had a lot of rubber stamps and shit at the time, so I could do them. These are all, it's pretty ratty. I did this in 2007. This is all about being a Dilaudid addict, basically. But I had some cool rubber stamps. My MySpace account is on this. But yeah, cool stuff. Crappy Normal. I got a couple of them. I did them all colors and whatever, you know. You can barely read them though. And also, this is my pride and joy. Wordworks Press, which was a company run by my friend Andrea Forsell, made this book, and also made a coffee table book of Silver Hearts pictures that Charlie Petch photographed on one of our Eastern tours. But this book is an anthology of Peterborough writers. As you can see, there's something terrible about a collection of guitars, an anthology of Peterborough writers. This is the only cafe where I worked for years. That's my friend Peter, who acted in most of my plays and now teaches my children music at their school, or teaches my daughter music anyway, at her school. As you can see, there's all kinds of photographs and stuff. The only's covered in photographs. There's this beautiful picture of Samuel Beckett right there. And I often used to sit right here just so I could meditate on Samuel Beckett. And oddly enough, now on the back of the page, they just photoshopped our faces on these pictures. And I got the Samuel Beckett spot. So that's kind of cool. And I have 3 poems in here. 3 poems. Where is it? Where is it, people? Time's running out. All right, that's me playing harmonica on the bar at the Bovine Sex Club, and that's my bio image. Just talks about my history. I've lived in Peterborough since 1991, blah, 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 produced, written this, done that. And I have 3 poems in this. One's called 66 Complete, one's called In Company, and one's called Light Within Some Trappings of Suction. So I don't have time to read these poems. I'm running out of time quick right now, but yeah. So this was published in, that's a cool picture. Something terrible. Yeah. Oh, I don't have time to explain the title. But first published in 2002 by Wordworks. So yeah, 2002. For all those people with 2 left feet. So yeah, anyhow, that's my pride and joy. Also in the Library of Canada. Wordworks. So yeah, that's a bunch of my chapbooks, ladies and gentlemen, that I published during the 90s and 2000s. And, you know, I'm happy to show you guys that. I wish I had more time. But anyhow, I hope you're all doing good and well, doing good stuff with your day. Be creative, make stuff, make noise, and be well. Talk to you soon.